guys, it's Kendra from Crafty Kendra. Yesterday I showed you how to make this scrapbooking layout. Today I'm going to show you how to make the second page to that layout, which has a special pull-out for you to use journaling or to put a photo in. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we're going to do is bring in a 6" by 6" piece of basic gray, and I've already stamped the snowflakes from the Snowflake Soiree stamp set in Versamark, and I've covered it with embossing powder. And the embossing powder is a mix of clear embossing powder and white. So we're going to go ahead and heat that up. Alright, we finished that. Now we're just going to set it aside. Gonna go ahead and bring in the pieces to make our little pull-out present. The first piece we have is a piece of old olive that measures 3½ inches by 3½ inches. And we also have a piece of the Mary Moa's Designer Series paper that measures 3½ inches by 3½ inches. I'm just going to flip it over and attach some snail to the back because it is going to go right on top of this old olive piece. And the reason we're doing this is to make the Designer Series paper a little bit stronger, so it won't worry about it ripping. We're going to set that piece aside now. I'm going to then bring in a piece of Very Vanilla. This piece of Very Vanilla originally measured 3¾ by 3¾ and what I did is using my scoreboard, I scored one edge at ½ inch, and then I turned it and I scored down to that line at 3/8 of an inch on both sides. And then I cut those off. And by doing that, I'm now able to bring in a 1" by 3¾ inch piece of old olive. That'll be the top of our lid. Before we attach it, we're going to use the quilted satin ribbon, which is retired, to make our bow. Another ribbon that would work great is our seam binding. So, I'm going to go ahead and bring this in. I'm going to grab a piece of sticky strip. Place it on one end. And trim it off. That way I can fold this over. Just like that. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to slide a piece of ribbon underneath the piece we already adhered on. And we're going to tie a bow. Whenever you tie your bow, you're going to want to try to get it as close to the top of the box as you can. Okay. There we go. Just adjust our bow so we get it just how we want it. Trim the tails. There we go. Now what we're going to do is we are going to flip it over, and on this piece we're going to attach the dimensional on each of the overhang tabs. Just like that. Taking them off, we're then going to attach another dimensional on top of them. Just like that. And we're going to peel off the backers and line up the top of our lid with the corners. Okay, and after you get it attached, you can flip it over and bring in your scissors and trim off a little bit of the extra so that way you don't worry about it showing. I know I could cut it smaller, but I find this to be the easiest way to line it up. Okay. Because it doesn't matter if that back side is pretty or not, because it isn't going to show. Next thing we're going to do is bring in the main part of our Christmas present. Just going to slide it up underneath. And then flip it over so that we can see the border of the old olive. And to make sure that it stays where it needs to be, we're going to put in guides for it. The way we make guides is we take a dimensional, we cut it in half. You can also use your edging, but I don't have enough edging to do this, so we're going to make guides by splitting a regular dimensional in two. I'm going to start right at the top. Sorry. Working at a weird angle. So I have one dimensional right at the top of the edge. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And I'm just going to keep cutting, and we're just going to keep placing some along the edge. They don't need to be butted up against each other, but you don't want to leave too big of a gap, or else you risk it coming and getting stuck in between them whenever you're trying to slide it back into place. I normally have a different system for making one of these sliders because I wanted to make sure that we could fit a pretty large present on here. I created this system. Later I'll show you how I do my other one. Alright, and whenever you get down to the bottom, I'm just going to put couple, and you shouldn't need many, probably only 2 halves down at the bottom. Yep. Next thing we're going to do is bring in some more of that ribbon. And again, it's whatever ribbon that you're using. We're just going to cut a piece that measures 1 3/4. Then we're going to cut 2 little pieces of sticky strip. Put one on one end. Okay, and then whenever we have this tape here, we're just going to flip it over and put our other piece on the other end. Okay, since we did that, I'm going to take the backing off one piece. Okay, going to bring in our pull part, and with the end with the tape still on it facing up, we're just going to put it close to the top, then press down. That way the one end of the ribbon is stuck down. Then we're going to remove the backing from that other piece and on all the dimensionals. Okay, I'm going to bring in our card base. What we're going to do is, keeping good hand on where this is, we're just going to center it in the bottom left hand corner, pressing down, press. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to take one of the cardstock stickers from the Merry Moments scrapping kit, and I just put it down in the bottom right hand corner of the present. Now we're going to bring in a 1/4 inch by 4 inch piece of old olive, and I've just given it a point at one end. I'm just going to attach a little snail. Just going to lay it down. Then I'm going to bring in a 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/4 inch by 4 inch piece of Very Vanilla, and the Merry greeting from the Snowflake Soiree stamp set, along with my cherry cobbler ink. I'm just gonna stamp it about 1/4 inch from the right side, just like that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off just about 1/2 inch, then cut up and give it a banner tail. Oops. Just like that. Bring in my crumb cake ink and my sponge stopper, and I'm just going to sponge the edges. Just like that. To tie in the basic gray a little bit more, just going to use my image sheet for a straight line. And then with the fine point tip of my basic gray marker, I'm just going to make dash lines. Not all the way to the end of the banner, but pretty close. I'm going to flip the banner over, and I'm going to snip off a couple pieces of sticky strip. And the reason why I'm using sticky strip on this is because with the slider, I want to make sure that, because this is going to get bumped, I don't want it to come off. So I'm just going to put a couple pieces of sticky strip on there. Take off the backing. Okay, I'm going to bring in my scrapbooking base and just lining this up against the edges, the top. I'm going to stick it down just like that. So that finishes off this. So you have a nice little pull out that you can put a picture on or a journal. And it has a nice matching page that you can put a larger 4x6 photo on that'll have a green border at the top and the bottom. But I hope you enjoyed my project for today and that you'll stay tuned for the rest of the projects in my series. But that's all I have for you, so I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.